The GT350 is finally back, and it's built by Shelby. Shelby is revealing the new GT350 at Barrett-Jackson this weekend, but I had a chance to get a preview ahead of the hustle and bustle of the auctions. I caught up with Gary Patterson, who is the president of Shelby North America, to talk about the new GT350. What are you feeling when you see these together?
This is awesome, Larry. I mean, this is like, it's a car guy's dream. It's a Shelby guy's dream. It started with a 65, the first Shelby Mustang 60 years ago, a GT350. You know, the new Mustang was out, but Lee Iacocca called Carroll because Carroll was very involved with Ford, obviously, you know, little things like winning world championships and stuff like that. But he said, you know, we'd like to make this more of a sports car. And Carroll always called them sport without the S. But anyway, sport car and not a secretary's car. That was Carroll's version of that. So, you know, Carroll wasn't real thrilled about it right away, but he looked at it and he said, okay. So a bunch of California hot rodders, they take a look at it and say, well, if we change the front suspension a little bit, change the pickup points, put some Coney shocks on, let the engine breathe a little better with a Holley carburetor and high-rise intake manifold and headers, and now the thing breathes a little better, we take out the back seat. So they did those kind of things, and they went out and they won B production national championships and beat the Corvettes back in 65, 6, you know, in B production, which is awesome. So that's really where this whole thing started, was a GT350. But now you've got the iconic Wimbledon white, Guardsman blue stripe, GT350. Oh, there's a 66 red one, right? So, because all the 65s were white. A lot of people don't know that. Not all of them had the over-the-top stripes though, which is kind of cool. Everybody's used to seeing these cars. All of them had the side stripe, but more than half of them were delivered originally without these iconic over-the-top stripes. But when they were racing them, that was the iconic look. So people, you know, the dealers put them on and so forth. So you had the iconic over-the-top stripes that really started this whole thing in 65. These were all white in 65, but in 66 you could get different colors. Red, white stripes, very iconic look.
Yeah, so what does it mean to you for the name to come back?
So the name has been off and on for this whole 60-year period of time. It started with that car. It evolved a little bit, you know, each year, and gradually the car got a little bit bigger. To 1970, there were just no more, right? Big gap. Okay, we came out with them again in 2011 at Shelby American, built at Shelby American, and we designed our own front fascia, our own rear, and with the exhaust coming out the center, and we really recreated the car, and it was white with blue stripes, but you could get other colors too if you wanted. And that continued on through 2014. Carroll had licensed the name to Ford Motor Company starting in 2015. So they built the cars in 2015, clear through to 2020. And then they no longer were licensing the name GT350, or they just chose not to continue with that. So here we are, 60 years later, it's 2025. We came back with the GT350. Here we are 60 years later. Shelby always said, I'm Carroll Shelby and performance is my business. How we define performance today is a little different than it was back in the day. But the GT350 was always a car that wasn't just a one-trick pony. In other words, it wasn't just a straight line car. It actually, for its day, okay, was really good around the corners, which is how it wins B production national championships. We never want to lose track of the history and what got us here. But we have a responsibility now, and Carroll always wanted that legacy to continue. From the driver's seat, when I look at that, I'm looking at the rear view mirror. That's our past. That's important. We want to celebrate that, and we never want to forget what got us there. But it's this big. The future is the windshield. It's this big. That's where you're headed. That's where you're driving. If you pay all your attention to the little rear view mirror, you're going to crash. Carroll's favorite car was always the next one. This is the next one.
What do you think Carroll would think about these now, if he was around?
Yeah, Larry, you know, I think somewhere up there we're getting this guidance. So I worked with him the last 16 years of his life, right? We worked with him for a very significant amount of time. We had a good idea what he thought and what he was thinking and stuff like that. And Carroll was never a person to dwell on the past. You could talk to him about the past, but quite frankly, he was more interested in talking about the future. The fact that our team at Shelby, because it's not any one person, what we've been continuing to do to continue the legacy of the brand, Carroll would be extremely proud. And Aaron Shelby, who I work with a lot with different meetings and the company strategy to move things forward, they're just amazing. And he said, you know, Carroll would be very proud of what the team is doing. And we try all kinds of stuff. You know, we talk about the elephant in the room, Larry. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. Electric. Technology. I look at this phone and I go, okay, if I wanted this technology with me 15, 20 years ago, you'd say I was nuts because you'd have to pull it in a wagon behind you. Today it fits in my pocket. Is electric the answer? Not yet. Maybe some kind of a hybrid thing. But if technology would continue to evolve, maybe there's a future here, maybe not. Carroll would continue to try things like turbine-powered Indy cars, like hydrogen-powered Cobras and those kind of things. So we've played around with it, not ready yet, but this, we know this works. And quite frankly, Larry, every Shelby built since '62 is a hybrid. They burn gas and rubber.
I love that. I mean, he wanted to win. And
oh, absolutely.
With technology, you overcome weight, you overcome so many things.
Yeah.
And in order to win, you have to just be on the cutting edge of technology.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on at Shelby right now, and you know, we're very proud of the team. Carroll was also very proud of the team, and he always talked about those kind of things. You guys saw Ford versus Ferrari, right? Well, it was about Carroll Shelby, it was about Henry Ford, but it was also about the Ford engineers that were working on the programs. It was about Ken Miles and, you know, Peter Remington and those kind of things. There was a team of people that put that together and made the difference between what they started with, which was a base Mustang or a Ford GT or something like that, and what was possible because of Carroll Shelby and a band of hot rodders that knew how to get things to the finish line and win. But our customers, whether they have one or they have many, they're very passionate people about the Shelby brand and the Shelby cars. So what are the things that they wanted different? They still wanted to feel and have the ability to shift that manual transmission, right? So you can do that. But if you really want an automatic, you can do that too in the GT350. But more than anything, if there was one thing people wanted, 526 horses, remarkable. Today, you need a little bit more. So we gave it a lot more, almost 300 more horses at 810 horses. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, if you like what you're watching, do me a favor, go check out the Hagerty Drivers Club. 24/7 roadside assistance with flatbed towing, subscription to our award-winning magazine, and more. Sign up today, links in the description. I also had a chance to catch up with Vince LaViolette, who is a former NASCAR driver from the early 80s, but he's also the vice president, senior designer, test driver, and he's also in charge of production and R&D to talk about details of the car.
So up in the front, we wanted to have that nice Shelby design. So we added in the crossbar, a whole new grille section, You notice on the regular Mustang, everything's kind of straight up and down on it. Shelby, everything is just a little bit more aggressive. We want to bring everything more aggressive. The lights are aggressive looking. I want to play off of that. So we go ahead and we bring our lines in on each side, you know. Not only that, we opened up the openings just a little bit more, get a little more airflow inside there, but yet still, you know, run the existing lights and stuff that Ford had actually put in the car. Same thing on the bottom, on the lower grille. We wanted to go ahead and, you know, give a little bit more aggressive look as far as what we're bringing in the air for the front brake ducting. On the grills on the side, we made it optional to where you could actually, you know, open up the other side, open up this side here. We wanted to give a little different design on the front splitter. We wanted to do a 3-piece on it because we want to be able to option that out a little bit later on. This is a hood that's only available on the 350. So you're not going to see these hoods on anything else out there. It's an aluminum hood. We have it stamped. We have it put together. This is a hood that is built to OE standards. So we kind of pride ourselves on that, and we've been getting more and more into that as far as Shelby. We want everything to have the OE look, fit, and finish. If we paint the hood to match the car, you know, a nice extractor on the hood, a little more aggressive. Like I say, when you look under the hood, you want it to look like an OE car. So everything on the car is very clean. It looks like it came off of a showroom floor, and that's the way we want the car to look. So we do the Whipple supercharger. It brings it from 480 to 810 horsepower, so it's almost a 70% upgrade. You know, you could put a Whipple supercharger on your Mustang, but do you have a warranty on it? You know, we got 3-year, 36,000 mile on this car. Something that's 50 state legal, that you can pull out, go out, have a great time, let it idle in the driveway all day, but yeah, you can go to the track and have one heck of a good day at the track, you know. Everything is all badged. So everything has a CSM number. It tells you what year the car is, what design of the car it is, and what the serial number is. This is actually 4P, so this is one of the number 4 prototype is what this is. Here's our whole goal. We want to build you a car that you can give your grandkids. I mean, you look at the original 350s, they're still around. You know what I mean? They've passed the grandkids, you know, and the cars are still around. Why not build a car like that? Why not build a car that they can keep in the family? Something that'll last you forever. But it's a performance car. It's over and above what you can get. But it's in its own class. It's a Shelby GT350. So this starts its life as a standard GT. You know, standard GT has a lot of really nice options. Ford did a great job on the car. We wanted to, you know, just make it a little more performance. So when you add a little more performance to it, the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that it handles a little bit, you know, a little bit more what we're looking for, more of a track style car. So if you look at it, you'll see that the car is about 1.5 inches lower than what it would be from factory. So we do a full suspension change on it, sway bars, springs, you know, front struts, and these are the essentials that make it a Shelby. We do a flow-formed aluminum wheel. We designed this wheel special for this car. So we wanted something that, you know, is very stylish, has the Shelby look, but something a little bit different. Took some stuff from the Super Snake. We actually took our new rear wing that we put on the deck lid. We added that onto the car. We did a nice Borla exhaust on it. And then this has an optional pedestal wing on the top. And it just gives it more of a performance car look. With the car without it, still has a beautiful look, beautiful lines. So if you look at the brakes, you know, well, Ford upgraded the brakes this year on the Mustang, you know, to where we have the Brembo brakes front and back. You notice the tires, it's actually a Michelin. So the PS4s. So we redo the seats in leather. It's a nice Shelby across here. Front seat, back seat matches. We do new floor mats in it. A new badge up on the dash. So we do a new little badge insert, and then we do your serial numbered on there. We're doing what Carroll did at the beginning. We're taking something that was given to us as a factory car and adding the performance, putting the components in it that we believe make it a Shelby car.
When I picture a GT350 in my head, you know, I think about this.
Yes.
Right? The iconic blue stripes, which of course reminds me of this also.
Yeah.
So then what sort of color options are we looking at for this version of the GT350?
Basically, we use Ford's palette on the GT. So everything from the grabber blue, the white, the silvers, we do the race red. We also do a carbonized gray. And then one thing on this car here, we didn't offer any painted stripes on this car, so they're all vinyl stripes. So you can either get a blue, a black, a silver, or a white. That's the option. So another thing, we tint all the windows in the car. Pulls your eyes to the side of the car so you can see the nice GT350 on the side, the nice badging, the nice wheels, you know, a little wing on the back. So I think just enough tasteful things to make it exciting, but just a really well-balanced, fun car for the track and something you can drive on the street forever.
Gary also gave me an inside scoop on what is coming next with the GT350R and Shelby's return to racing in Trans Am.
In '65, Carroll Shelby did some other things, made the regular body of the GT350, that actually has a little bit of it there if you really look at it, but the whole front apron in the front was designed differently, and it had a big opening to suck in more air. Help keep the car down, but scoop it in through the radiator so you didn't have cooling problems running in races. 36 of those cars were made. They were called R models, and they had like Lexan windows and so forth. So it was a very different car, but still a GT350. With those were the cars that won B Production National Championships. Today, we have a GT350R, and it's not going to be built in the same shop in Michigan. We've got another shop in Michigan that's doing that car, and it's a race car shop. A shop, Turnkey Automotive, that has done a fabulous job with older Ford vehicles as well as even General Motors vehicles, right? The last of the Copo Camaros and stuff were done there in that shop. They've done Trans Am race cars. What could we do? So in '65, the way to prove that car out was to take it racing. So Trans Am really wasn't a thing until '66. So we're going to develop a Trans Am race car based on the R model car, but not put it on the track until 26, 60 years later. Okay? In '66, Carroll helped Ford win with a Mustang and beat the Barracudas and stuff like that the first year of Trans Am. In '67, they hired Bud Moore to really put together a big program to put Cougar on the map and race those cars. Carroll Shelby and his band of hot rodders beat those guys with a Mustang in Trans Am. So 2026, we'll be back with a Trans Am race car. It'll be a little different than the GT350R just because the car that will build those 36 will actually be street legal, and you can run them, you can drive them, but with a very different content. We pull the interior out. Instead of carpeting, we have an entire carbon fiber tub in the car. It's got Alcon Trans Am spec brakes on it, a lot of different suspension components. It's got the Super Snake front fenders and hood, and most of the design from the front, but a little bit different in the back, and a big Trans Am wing. All these things are spec. So when we start looking at this, we've actually brought in Aaron Caldwell, and he is one of the top people at Trans Am. And while this car is being developed, he's watching it, showing us, telling us, yeah, this works or this doesn't. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So when we get ready to go, we know we're not going to have a problem in tech inspection, right? So this truly is a car that's going to go Trans Am racing in '26.
Do you know how many R's you're going to make?
36.
36. Just like the original
Just
Rs.
like '65.
Got it. And are these limited number?
Yeah, so it's going to be less than 500 or less of these. When you looked at the numbers in 1965, there was 562 total cars. So between cars that we may export and cars that we'll build here, we'll build up to that point.
You say you're building some for the street and also some just for racing.
So there's two different programs. So the 350R is the street car, but it's got the Trans Am spec, you know, brakes and wing and a lot of the things that'll make that car truly unique. The race car program is entirely separate from that, and it's going to be 3, 4, maybe 5 cars at the most, right? So not a lot of those, but we're not just doing this as a publicity stunt. We're planning to win.